Hi everyone, and thank you for tuning in to watch this video. My name is Debbie and I am from Spill the Tea Leaf Readings and more. In this video, I'm going to focus on spreads you can use to do a tarot or oracle deck interview. If you have a new deck or if you need to reacquaint yourself with an old one, doing an interview helps you get to know your deck. For anyone new to these videos, I do want to say that the cards I'll be showing you are just examples and I'm not reading for an actual person. It's all in service of showing you what the tarot can do for you. And of course, if you like what you see, let me know, subscribe, and maybe even get a reading with me. If that is something you're interested in, you can email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com. I have a few 3-card spreads to start us off. This one is from divinate.org. Here we are starting off with the Two of Wands, which tells me that the deck's most important characteristic is that it will help you plan and strategize your next steps and maybe even get you comfortable with the idea of trying new things or branching out. Our second card is the Eight of Pentacles. Okay, so this deck will help you by helping you build the skills you will need, presumably with tarot, but who knows, maybe with something else as well. And finally, we have the Three of Wands reversed. So the deck's limitation is that it can't actually take those first steps for you. It can bring you to the water, but it can't make you take a drink. If you are not familiar with that saying, then this probably makes no sense to you. In a nutshell, this deck will help you plan for the future and build the skills you need to take the next steps, but it can't actually take those steps for you, which makes perfect sense. This next one is from the Tarot Professor. The Queen of Pentacles is the energy or highest intention of this deck. The Chariot is what the deck can show you about yourself, and the Four of Pentacles shows how your life might change after working with this deck. So this is a deck that's great for grounding work. It's very nurturing and down to earth and can show you how to find direction in your life and maybe even where to go to be successful. After working with this deck, you will feel more in control of your life. Sounds good to me. Our last 3-card spread is also the start of a 7-card spread. So you can use just these questions or expand upon it with 4 more, as you'll see in a minute. This is from We Mystic. The U here is referring to the deck. So the deck is the Star reversed, which makes me think that this deck is depressed. It's lost faith and maybe just needs someone to treat it right and use it on a regular basis, and then it will be filled with hope. I think this would signal to me that this interview will have to be redone after at least a week of lots of tarot use in TLC. Don't forget to cleanse your tarot decks. Its purpose is the Nine of Pentacles reversed, so it's not a planner. I will interpret that as it wanting to be a fun-loving, in-the-moment kind of deck. The King of Swords is what you can learn from this deck, which speaks to wisdom, clarity, and great communication. So use this deck a lot just for fun, and in doing so, gain knowledge from it. Make sure to treat it well, and perhaps this deck will feel better about itself and will gain a new purpose down the road. Here is the second half of this spread. I find the question, what's your secret? Somewhat amusing, personally. We've already talked about the first 3 cards, so I'm jumping down to the second row straight away. The Queen of Wands is saying that together you can achieve confidence, which totally makes sense with everything we were saying before. The Knight of Cups is the deck's secret, so the deck is secretly romantic and just really wants to be loved and maybe to help matchmake. The Six of Pentacles reverse is its strength. So it is a giver with no expectations of anything being returned. That might be why the Star reverse is its first card here. Please give this deck some love in return. The Knight of Cups is saying the deck needs it, but will never ask for it. And finally, the deck's weakness is the World. So this deck really wants to help you find closure, but that is not what you are supposed to use it for. Remember, it's for fun. The deck really wants to be more than it is, but also recognizes that about itself. We have one 4-card spread for you this time around. As these spreads get larger, you'll see a lot of similar questions that might have a bit of a different flavor. You'll also notice some standard interview questions like, what are your strengths or your weaknesses? If you want to create your own interview deck spread, think about job interview questions and use this as a base. This particular spread comes from Backyard Banshee. Your relationship will be like justice, so you get what you give. The deck's strengths that will help you move forward is the Ace of Swords reversed. This card can sometimes mean a lack of clarity, so I'm going to turn that into the idea that this deck will always give you options rather than just a plain easy answer. A limitation of the deck or a scenario that it won't want to work with is the Four of Wands. So, as a limitation, it is saying that it can't show you a happy ending. As a scenario, I think this is saying it would rather work with you when you're not feeling stable and secure. The type of messages you can expect to receive are those of the Seven of Pentacles, those of encouragement as you are working hard to grow. This 5 card cross spread is from divinate.org. This is one that has a bit of a tricky layout, so make sure you pay attention to how you lay the cards out for this one. The general nature of your deck is the Wheel of Fortune, so I would call that a happy-go-lucky nature. The Six of Pentacles reveals how the deck can best assist you. This one is tricky. On one hand, this could be saying that it will help you accomplish your goals, etc. But on the other hand, it could assist you in puffing up your pride. If you are someone lacking in self esteem, this is great, but there's a fine line between success and having too big of a head. So I take this as a warning as well. The Two of Swords reverse tells us that the deck is not good at helping with decisions. And the Four of Swords reverse lets us know that once a decision has been made, the deck is really good at helping you take action. The Ten of Cups shows that you can learn and grow with the deck by having a positive outlook and always hoping for the best. Basically, this is not a doom and gloom deck, but a feel really good about yourself deck. This 5 card spread comes to us from Emerald Lotus. This also feels like it would be a good spread to use when evaluating your relationship with a mentor. And if you're using your tarot cards for guidance, then this should make perfect sense to you. These cards may look familiar to you, and that is because I use them for the last spread demonstration as well. However, I changed up the order. The card to describe your relationship with the deck is the Two of Swords, so it's kind of a fair weather friend type of deck. Of course, the more you use a deck, the more that will change over time. What the deck wants to teach you is that life is cyclical. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. When you should use this deck is when you're feeling good about yourself because you've had success in your life. To improve your relationship with this deck, you should treat it like a beloved family member. Take good care of it, cleanse it, spend time with it when you're not doing a reading. Sometimes it can be really nice to take time to put the cards back in order or to just pull out a card from time to time and just look at the imagery. Those are things you can do here to improve your relationship with the deck. And something important this deck wants to tell you is that it's time for action, not reflection. This new deck spread is from Lamusi, I hope I'm saying that right, and features an optional question at the end. That question, which one of my guidances best identifies with this deck, is for those that work with different angels, spirits, gods, or entities. So if you only work with one guide or spirit, you may not want to bother with this question. You could also change it to be more specific. For example, if you like working with your ancestors, you can just ask, which one of my ancestors best identifies with this deck? For this example, we have the Sun as our first card, letting us know that its communication is simple but overall positive. Notice that card 2 is not near card 1 here. Card 2 is the Page of Swords, so the deck is strongest when it comes to things having to do with thoughts. So, yay for decision making, nay to love spreads. Limitations are the Fool. So, this deck can only help you based on what it knows. It recognizes that at the end of the day, you are the one with the knowledge to really help yourself. Again, take note that the cards are not in a regular pattern here. Judgment is the next card and is showing that this deck is good at using your self-doubt. So when you're having trouble believing in yourself, this deck is here to help you. The High Priestess connects to your current purpose in life by reminding you to trust yourself. The High Priestess will only show you what's on the surface, but you have to dig really deep to go beyond. If you were going with that optional 6 card, we have the Hierophant reversed. So which guidance of yours best identifies with this deck? It's someone who bucks tradition, so I'm going to say Loki, but of course, everyone has a different view of this. I actually would probably leave this card out myself, but I know some people will find it helpful to have it there. Next up is our first official 6 card spread, which is from Little Red Tarot. Okay, so this deck likes to fight you a bit. It's not malicious, but it'll definitely make you work for it. That's the Five of Wands. The Ace of Cups is its strength, so we have a deck that is intuitive and connected to emotions, which will be very helpful for you. Its limits are the Eight of Wands, a card of action. So this deck isn't one for reflection, which is often why a person uses tarot cards. For what the deck is here to teach you, we have the King of Pentacles reversed. He is a poor leader and bad with money and certainly not grounded. In this case, I think the deck is saying to be honest. If you aren't showing all of your faults to the deck, how can it help you learn? How can you best learn and collaborate with the deck is answered with death. Basically, be ready to close chapters and move on with this deck. Remember, it's a deck of action, so this makes sense. The potential outcome of your working relationship with this deck will be spiritual whiplash. You'll get the job done, but you may be a little bruised by the end of it. This spread is very similar, but I really love the last three questions, which I think makes it more unique. And this one is from Creative Soul Tarot. We are using the exact same cards in the exact same position here, so this will be a good way to compare these two spreads. The deck's personality is combative. Its strengths lie in its emotional and intuitive connectedness to you. Uh, its limits are that it's all about action and not about taking time to reflect. Here's where things get interesting. When should you call on this deck for guidance? When you are at your worst. The deck will challenge you by showing you when things in your life are over, whether you're ready to accept it or not. Basically, the deck wants you to change. And how will it inspire you? By showing you that you are resilient and can handle anything. Here is another one from Emerald Lotus. I like the give and take of this spread. What do you require from me and what can I expect from you? This one makes the relationship feel more balanced from the get-go. The Six of Cups starts us off and lets us know that your relationship with this deck is one of happiness and gifts. My question is, who is giving and who is receiving? Maybe that question will be answered later in the spread. The Knight of Swords reverse is how you'll work together. So lots of action, not lots of thought. Well, that doesn't feel healthy to me. An important aspect of the deck's personality is that it knows what its limitations are. Something the deck requires from you is inspiration. That's the Ace of Wands. Put passion into your readings to get the deck ready for you. Something you can expect from the deck is the Ten of Pentacles. So you can expect a strong foundation for your reading. A message the deck wants to give you is the Moon. So it is saying that even in the dark times, this deck will help you find illumination. Going back to that first card, the deck is definitely the little boy gifting the little girl in that card. This 7-card horseshoe spread is also from divinate.org. I don't really think it looks much like a horseshoe, so I'm not sure why it's called that. I guess you can turn it into a horseshoe shape if you want. Please notice that we read the spread bottom to top, which is counterintuitive. Strength represents the deck's primary theme or personality. In this case, I would say that means the deck will be patient with you. The Ace of Pentacles reverse shows the deck's strength, so it is helpful when you're lost and can't find your footing or your path. The Queen of Pentacles is our next card in the deck's weakness. Maybe this deck will coddle you too much. The Ace of Swords reverse is how you can collaborate with your deck. I'm going to interpret this as if you aren't crystal clear with this deck, it won't be clear with you. Basically, make sure you know what you want. Make sure to ask the right questions for that, and you'll be fine. But if you're unsure, your answers from the deck will be muddled and foggy at best. The deck prefers readings like the Knight of Wands, who is always up for an adventure. So I would say this deck is good for plotting a course, say figuring out next action steps to take, that sort of thing. The Page of Wands reverse is next. Lots of court cards here. The potential outcome of this deck is learning to find motivation within yourself rather than from an external muse. And finally, we have the Two of Swords providing additional insights or overarching themes. The deck is saying that if you have decisions to make, it will help you, but then you must act upon that decision rather than continuing to waver. This spread from Hermit's Mirror focuses on communication. I also found the last question to be really interesting. It's not the standard, what will I learn, but rather, how will I know when we are ready to learn? The Hermit reverse is a major lesson the deck is here to teach you. This is telling you that you don't have to go off on your own for enlightenment. Above that, we have our second card, the Lovers, through which divine energy can we best communicate? Now, the answer to this question is going to vary person to person based on what or who you believe in. We talked about this with an earlier spread. I personally am not pagan, so I only have one divine energy that I would accept here, but some people would imagine angels, some might be talking to ancestors. The latter is good if you were an atheist too. Because this card is imagery from the Garden of Eden, if this were me doing a real deck interview for myself, I would take it as confirmation that the God of Adam and Eve is the answer to this question. You could also look at the angel on this card, which is most likely Raphael, and take that as your answer. For some people, the Lovers might mean something outside of what the literal image is, especially if you've just lost a loved one. Moving on to card 3, we have the Six of Cups again. In what area could you help me aid others? Here, I'm going to say that this means that the deck is going to help you find ways to relate to others through your sense of childlike wonder. The Five of Wands reversed is about the deck's guidance being misunderstood. One interpretation of this card is that these are kids who are play fighting rather than actual fighting. There's another interpretation that these boys are struggling to move the sticks around in a building project. So, how could the deck's guidance be misunderstood? By taking the deck too literally and not taking the time to look for alternate meanings. To keep communication clear, we have the Knight of Swords. So, be sure to have a plan, a strategy for all your dealings with this deck. Be clear and concise with your line of questioning and stay focused. The Magician reverse is asking how the deck's guidance can be used for the highest good. The deck wants to be sure that you aren't abusing the power you have, that anything you learn or discover through tarot will not be used to harm or trick others. And finally, the Wheel of Fortune is telling you when you'll know you are ready for a new lesson. When things are going well, that's the time. I love that because so often we don't look to change when things are good, only when things are bad. So this deck is here to prepare us for the bad times by having us learn something new during the good times. All right, this is our next to last spread, and it comes from MJS Tarot. The spread has 9 cards, and you lay them out from bottom to top. The Nine of Pentacles describes the deck, so it is grounded and has earned its place. Its strengths are the Eight of Wands, so it's a deck that will help you take action. I feel like this has come up a lot today. The Seven of Pentacles represents the deck's limitations, meaning that it can only take you so far. You have to do the rest on your own. Our connection is the Queen of Cups, which is wonderful. She is sensitive, intuitive, creative, caring. So you're connected to this deck emotionally and maybe even spiritually. For what the deck can teach you, we have the Five of Cups reversed, which is just reminding you to look for the upturned cups when things are at their bleakest. The Nine of Wands is telling us what kinds of readings this deck likes best. It likes tough readings, ones that will put you through the ringer but allow you to come out better and with a new perspective. Shadow work seems like a good fit here for this deck then. The Knight of Pentacles is how this deck can help you, which is great because he is so steady and reliable. You can certainly lean on this tarot deck. It is here for you and it is grounded and it won't let you down. Your potential together is the Eight of Cups, which shows me that at some point you'll outgrow this deck, but that is what life is all about. And finally, the message this deck has for you is the King of Cups, who is saying to be the most authentic version of yourself in life and when you use this deck. My guess is that this deck can help you do that for yourself as well. And finally, our last and largest spread. This is the Ultimate Tarot or Oracle interview spread from selftarotblog.com. This one, with all its questions, really does feel like a job interview. I think it's making me a little bit nervous. It's a good thing the cards are in the hot seat and not me. We start this one off with the Hierophant reverse as the deck's descriptor card, showing that this deck doesn't always play by the rules of tradition, so it's going to be really important for you to use your intuition with this deck. The High Priestess is showing you that your relationship with this deck will be one where you'll learn to trust yourself and your inner voice as you work together to lift the veil. The Queen of Wands is echoing the High Priestess, saying that you'll learn confidence from this deck. After all, when you learn to trust yourself, confidence naturally follows. The Seven of Wands reverse is showing us the deck's strengths, in this case, that it never gives up. Its limitations, on the other hand, shows the toll this takes, as the deck does need a break every once in a while to recharge. What types of readings the deck likes is shown as the Fool, so come with readings that could lead to unexpected places. Shadow work fits the bill, but so does a spread where you really don't already have the answers. Think about, for example, when you have a decision to make and you use a tarot to help you with that. Most of the time, you already know the answer, you're just looking for confirmation or for extra guidance. That's the opposite of what this deck likes. Looking at the second row, we have the Third of Pentacles, showing that this deck doesn't like readings that help build skills. In other words, this isn't a practice deck for you, it's a working deck. How does this deck feel about you? It wants to be friends, just like the women in the Three of Cups. What do you need to learn? The deck thinks you need to learn to let go of grief. That's the Nine of Swords. The Knight of Cups reversed is showing you that you need to put aside your petty emotions in order to accomplish this task. The Four of Pentacles reverse shows where the deck sees you going together. So together, you'll find a way to loosen that grip a little bit and find a way to not control everything. Why should this deck work with you? The Seven of Cups shows options. This deck knows that you will bring it lots of different queries and types of readings, and it likes variety. And finally, the deck's message is the Emperor. This deck will keep you on track and help you, but you will have to learn to help yourself and lead by example as you grow. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning these interview spreads. If you are interested in getting a reading, please feel free to email me at info@spillthetealeaf.com. In my next video, I'll highlight a different type of spread, and I do hope you'll join me for that. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and comment below if you want me to cover something specific sooner rather than later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a wonderful day.